So as it pertains to teens in this age group, it is these are the pain points that I am thinking that you would have. And the first one is this whole idea of routine, why, how flexible. And for a 17-year-old, they're not 10, they're not 5, they're not 3, right? Their routine is really kind of up to them. When we're talking about a 17-year-old, it's a conversation about why you think that their routine is specific and necessary for you guys. So it is important to be mindful of how much you are intervening, and how much you are micromanaging their routine. What you can do is say something to the effect of, I expect you to get some exercise. I expect you to have healthy sleep patterns, which in this age group, in the 15 to 24, it's anywhere between 8 to 10 hours a night. That's what we want them to do. For those of us that are 25 and older, what is a healthy sleep pattern is 7 to 9 hours a night. So if you're not getting that, you are not healthy either, right? And then let them know that if you have a meal that you'd like them to have with the family, please let them know, hey, I expect you to have a family meal with us, whether we are in quarantine times or whether we are in typical times. Every Sunday we're going to have dinner together. Every Wednesday we're going to have dinner together, and let them know and warn them. What the mistake that parents in the high school age years make is that you don't let them know ahead of time, and then you just expect them to be at the family meal, and then they make a plan, and then that's when you get into a fight about them choosing between being in the family meal or being with their friends. So be sure that you are predicting and letting them know ahead of time that you expect them to be in a family meal. So again, how flexible? Well, that's up to your child. Is a routine important? Yes, routine is important for all of us. And you, as the parent of a high school kid, it's letting them know, I expect you to do some exercise. I expect you to be at these many meals. And 7 out of 7 is that's not real. They weren't doing that before quarantine. Before quarantine, a lot of them were doing after school activities. And if you were having 7 out of 7 family meals prior to quarantine, you are the only parent that can expect that during quarantine is the parent that was doing it before quarantine. Right now in quarantine, it's about replacing when you went to, Flanagan's, when you had the meal with abuela, now you can replace that, to quarantine time. So because in their system, in their body, they're used to the 2 to the 3. So again, sleep, exercise, and meals are the things that we can be prescriptive and predict for the high school kid and the college kid, right? But with the college kid, it's more like a friend. Hey, this is what we're doing. Will you be with us? Okay, so the other pain point that I know that a lot of you guys are in the midst of is, summer ending and school beginning. 2 out of 3 of you will have 17-year-olds. So, they either just graduated and you're thinking about college. And I think one of my questions is about college, or they're either juniors and they're going into their senior year. And you are going, what in the world are we going to do? So in this age group, it is, if you're in the public school system and you have the 3 choices, please sit down with them and ask them, what do they want to do? And when they tell you what they want to do, please be curious with them. And it depends on where you are in your risk spectrum, right? For some of us, including me, we're at a 10. I have been in quarantine since March 5th happily, and have not left my house, and have gotten takeout twice. Right. And when I have gone to zero parties, and I have, hung out with my mom outside with a mask on, with a fan hitting both of us. So, but that's just my risk aversion, right? That's my risk aversion. That's where I'm at. Some people are at a 1, which is they were happy, they got on their boat, they went to the sandbar, they hung out with 100 people. The minute the restaurants opened, they went without a mask. That's a 1. The city of Miami in this risk piece is somewhere between a 5 and a 7. So when thinking about summer ending and school beginning and how to make these decisions, you and your high school kid, you and your almost college kid have to sit and think about, where are you in this risk aversion range? And just so you know, in adolescence, starting at 12, but all the way to 24, what happens to the brain is that their brain generally only sees the positives of a scenario if they're having normative development. If they're suffering from anxiety or depression, that's not necessarily the case. But those that are, developing naturally, they only see the good aspects. So that's why when you tell them, well, you might catch it, they're like, no, I won't. That's their brain talking. Their brain sees the pro side of the pros and cons list primarily. So you have to be mindful of how you share dangers or how you share negatives, because if you just go at them with negativity or dangers of what might happen, their brain will shut you off, because the brain moves towards an aspect of turning off those risk factors in their mind. So it is important to first, when you sit down and have this conversation about going back to school or not going back to school, or choosing the virtual route of the school rather than the schoolhouse, going to school, make sure that you plan with them and be curious about where do they see the risks and what do they need. For some of them, they may want to go back to school just because they get to see their friends. Right. And it's not necessarily because they care whether or not, Mr. Suarez is in front of them in the classroom. But for others, it is important to get back to school. So it is this summer ending and this school planning and the school beginning. It is in the high school years and in the young adult years. This is the age group that we're talking about. We want to include them in the conversation and have curiosity and let them know together we're going to make this choice. And to wonder with them and how they're going to do it. And this is true for the high schooler. For the college age kid, in my perfect world, you would be letting them make the choice of going back to FSU if FSU opens. And only because they need to make choices and make those mistakes. And it's just that I know that if you were a 10 like me, that's a terrifying statement that I just made. Okay. The other pain point that you guys have had is in seeking independence and seeking space, right? And opening up to the world, right? So, when this whole quarantine thing started, as a child development expert and as a parenting educator, I 100% worry desperately for the mental health of the parents of children birth to 5. That is the hardest age group, and the hardest parenting task at this time is for those parents. And I worried about the mental health of the adolescent kids, not the parents, the kids, primarily because from 12 to 25, if the 1 and the 2-year-old is going to walk and talk, and that's super important, and that's like the big umbrella. The big umbrella in this age group is independence, autonomy, and making choices. And the quarantine got rid of it, right? So when you're thinking and you're seeing that they're stuck in their room, or they're taking space, or they're removing themselves from the family setting, I want you to wonder, are they making a choice? Are they seeking independence? Um, are they finding autonomy? Um, every time they come to you with an idea or a problem, I want you to think, are they seeking independence? Are they trying to make a choice? Um, are they problem solving? And wherever you can, I want you to be at a 70-30. 30% of the time you kind of setting the scaffolding and the ideas of what you hope that they will do and they will choose, but 70% of the time allowing them to think through their choices, allowing them to be independent in their choices, and allowing them in problem solving alone. The other pain point that you may be having is a judgment about their friendships. Now, this is true for all parents of teens. All parents of teens make this mistake. She is a bad influence on you. The way that your high schooler and college age person is hearing that is, I don't think you're smart enough to not let that person bamboozle you. And I know every single parent, that is not your message to them, but that's what they hear. I don't think you're smart enough. I don't think you're strong enough. I don't think that you can manage. And that's why I don't want you to be with them. They're not hearing what you're actually saying which is, wow, when you're with this person, I'm afraid that the two of you are going to get into situations and I don't know how you're going to handle it. Right? So, and right now in quarantine times, in pandemic times, this judgment may have increased for you, right? Because they're telling you, I want to go see Susana, but you're like, well, I can't trust that Susana has made good choices. Right? So, has she exposed herself? Is she wearing a mask? Is she being safe? What about her family? Hey, I saw that her family has a boat and they were with like 500 strangers in the sandbar, and I hate that, right? So when you talk about their friendships, when you talk about their plans, stay away from, no, because I don't want you to be around those people. Because again, what they hear you saying is, I don't trust you. You are weak. You are dumb. You will be bamboozled. I know that's not your message, but that is what your teen hears. And instead, I want you to say, all right, okay, so you really want to see Susana. Okay, got it. You miss her, you love her. Okay, so how can you keep yourself safe? Because I'll tell you my fears. My fears are that I've seen Susana on Instagram and she's done da, 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 da. But how are you going to keep yourself safe? And the same goes for, when they go to the party, right? Or when we're not in pandemic times and they go to the party. Or so it is so easy to, when you judge their friendships, to send the message that you don't trust them, and for them to get a case of the F it. Well, F it. If she thinks I'm going to be bad, then I might as well be bad, right? If she doesn't trust, or he or my father doesn't trust that I can make good choices for myself, then so be it. So I'd rather you state your fears and say, I trust you, but let's work out a plan. And again, what I've said about all these pain points, what it all has in common is, when are you letting go and the freedom to choose? Okay, so I spoke. I see there's 3 questions, so I'm gonna go into the question and answer part of our awesome session right now, and I will answer these. So the first one I'm going to answer is, so my daughter suffers from depression. I keep asking her about what colleges she wants to go to and what career she wants to pursue. Her reply is always, I don't know. She has been on her current medication for a month. How far do I push her? What can I do to motivate her? Also, she won't let me share views that I have that are different from hers. It hurts our communication because she doesn't want to talk to me about issues around the world. What do you recommend? Okay. Okay, so when a person is living with depression or anxiety, that kind of becomes their number one top of mind issue to solve. So get ready, Nicole, because so I'm gonna let everybody talk now. So Nicole, if you can unmute yourself while I'm talking, so we can kind of banter if you want to. So so I want to refocus your attention away from college. I know, ready? Just take a deep breath. I want to refocus your attention away from college and more into helping her manage and assisting her in her finding a solution to the depression that she's feeling. If she's on medication, I'm assuming that she is doing psychotherapy with a person that's helping her work with her depression, and a psychiatrist that's helping her manage the medication. Correct? And okay, cool. Okay, so for me, her answer to you of I don't know is because if she is depressed, it's hard to have that future planning. So and did she graduate in the pandemic? She just finished. Sorry?
She's going to senior year.
She's entering senior year. Got it. So, and senior year is a big deal because you got to apply, you got to do the SAT, and you got to do all that stuff, right? My recommendation to you is to say to her, okay, senior year is a deal. You're going to be working with your therapist and with your psychiatrist this year. So these are the two choices. You can go somewhere local, right, where it's easy to get in. Like she can go to Miami-Dade for a year. She can go to a local school for the year. So then the hardship of applying to colleges kind of gets removed, and she can work on her depression.
I actually gave her that option, so I'm glad you're saying that.
Good, please, because in my book, you don't want to send you don't want to send a depressed kid away to college if they're not ready to.
Right.
And Miami-Dade credits transfer to all of the Florida schools. And I'd rather you give her the space and the time, right? And say to her, I am happy to assist you with this, but these are the things that I know will happen if you decide to go to FIU, to FSU, to whatever school she ever spoke about prior to her depression. Okay. Now, worldviews. When a person is denying to speak to you about something that they disagree with you about, it's primarily because they've attached a belief that if we disagree, we can't love each other. If we disagree, we can't have a relationship. A lot of people get very black and white with that. So I recommend, Nicole, to get curious with her and to say, when you and I talk and we disagree about whatever, don't tell me what you're disagreeing about, but I'm gonna pretend, right? Oh, when you and I talk and we disagree about the gender binary, right? I don't believe in trans people, daughter, right? And does it feel like I won't love you if we have a difference of opinion? Check in with her.
Okay.
Because one more thing, when this is the power that we have as parents, right? And the power that we have as parents is that we have taught them to listen to us no matter what. But in adolescence, they're not supposed to listen to us no matter what. If they want to be Republican because we're Democrats, if I'm a Democrat, if my children decide to be Republican, I have to let them know it's okay. I am curious to know why you've made that choice. Okay. But for them, we, the parent, may actually be honestly curious, but their life up until they were like 14, 13, 12, it's like we told them the values, we told them how to act, we told them so many things. So sometimes they feel like they are betraying us by having a different opinion.
The only thing I've told her is I like to explain to you my view so that you're not so closed off to just one point of view. Like, it's okay to hear other things and be open-minded, you know? And then maybe you form your own opinion.
Right. So I love that. Now I want you to add, but I understand that when the opinion comes from your mom, you are receiving it as though I am assuming that I am requiring for you to agree with me.
Okay.
So because there's a high possibility that she thinks that you are required, even because if we have, you have to name it, that if you give her your opinion and it's different than hers, you're actually asking her to think like you.
Okay.
Right. So add the phrase, but I can understand that since I'm your mom, you think that that I want you to think like me. And actually, I just want us to have this conversation.
Okay.
So that's one way to talk about world events.
Thank you.
It's super hard. The other one. Okay. So Christy, I like your question. So Christy asked, is it unrealistic to ask that their friends get tested so that you feel better about who they hang out? No, I don't think it's unrealistic. I think that that's that. When I think about adolescents, I think about like scaffolding, right? So you can say to them, look, if you want to hang out with your friends, I want them to go to the Hard Rock or the Miami Beach Convention Center and to get themselves a test once a month to see how you guys are doing, because a lot of you guys in your age group are asymptomatic, and your kids are going to go, oh my God, mom, that's freaking crazy. For sure, that's going to be the response. But that could be a rule. That could be a scaffolding rule. But just expect them to be like thinking that you're nuts, right? But it just be clear. That's my expectation. I think that for most adolescents, when you give them your expectation, when you give them, hey, this is what I expect, they will live up to it, right? So it's like, okay, I want this freedom. Okay, well, this is what I need you to do to get this freedom. So that this just falls under that. Now, that it will happen, Christy, I mean, like that's a high bar, right? Because that means that if they don't drive, they have to get some adult to take them to get tested. But can you ask for it? Yes. Is it realistic? Yes. Does it fall under, this is what I expect so that you can have this freedom? Yes. Okay, thunder. Either I'm telling the truth and the heavens are talking. It's loud. So yeah, no, I like that question, and I think it's fine. It's fine, and as long as you explain, why you have that question. So now, everyone, there's only one person left that hasn't asked a question. I don't know if you want to ask a question. Let me know, or you can type it. And if not, I guess I answered all the questions right quick in the first 30 minutes because there's only 4 of us. Any more questions? Go unmute yourself and ask me any question that you want. Pick my brain.
This is Lisa. Hi.
Hi, Lisa.
I don't know if you can see me or hear me. I actually have a meeting in 2 minutes. My boss called me halfway through your discussion. So I didn't get to hear a whole lot, but I got your info from Edith. I don't know if you know Edith. And I have actually 2 17-year-old twins. And the biggest struggle right now is we have to make a decision today on yay or nay, virtual learning for their very last year of high school, or 2 days a week in school. And the worst part of it is you have to commit for the whole year. And they are so upset. You have no idea, because my husband is saying they can't go. And so I feel like I let them down. It's killing me because it's senior year, but I'm just going to have to use some of your tips and get them to understand that it is a safety thing, a health thing.
Yeah. And something that you can lovingly do, and I'll say it as quickly as possible, is to say to them, what do you think is the thing that you're going to miss the most about being on campus those 2 days? And let them tell you, and then kind of figure out together how they can do that outside of school. So maybe they say, well, I won't be able to do this and this with this and this person, right? So get creative about whether they can do it on, on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Make those things that they, it's like, this is a big deal. And Lisa,
Yeah.
feel your pain, because I've been worried about every single adolescent all over the world.
Yeah.
I have this meditation practice called Tonglen, where you breathe in pain and you breathe out solutions. And I've been doing that a lot, holding in mind teenagers. So it is about, don't jump too fast to solutions, and sit with them in the, yes, this is horrible, and I'm sorry that this is happening at this time.
Yeah. They also both suffer from depression, which on top of that is not helping.
Right.
But
so let them know to imagine, what do they imagine they would have done those 2 days if they were on campus, and be creative about making that available to them. And hopefully by May of 2021, they will at least have the ritual of the prom and the
that's what I hope. Yeah.
I know a lot of seniors didn't get that this year, and but what I also know is that a lot of the schools, they go out of their way to give them something. So stay with their pain more than pulling them out of the pain. Okay. And this is, I recorded it so you can hear it later. So you just go to the website and you could look for it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I have to jump off, but thank you.
No worries. Perfect.
Bye.
Okay. I still have more time. So any other question? Unmute yourself and then tell me if you have any other questions. If not, we'll cut it short.
So actually it's Christy, quick question.
Yeah.
On the decision process, because of course we went through the pain of the class of 2020, right? And everything that they missed. And then now they're on the, here we go again, decision process that they were excited about going, off to school. Mm-hmm. And then now they're having to make a decision. Well, UF just announced that it's going to be all online. And so do you even bother with the dorm decision and versus the stay at home? Funny enough, one of them brought the conversation of is it even worth it? And I'm trying to check myself. It's like I feel like I was in the hallway when they were crying as toddlers, and don't go in the room and let them soothe themselves. I literally feel, I'm going to write an article about this because that's how I feel all over again, right? Yes. And so I'm trying to check my attitude of 150% I want you to stay, right? Because if you're going to sit online in a dorm, why don't you safely do it here and not go around all these people, right? But I'm trying to check myself as to an experience, whatever that experience is supposed to look like, is better than zero experience. So I'm literally at a, do I give my opinion, or how to have that conversation so that they arrive at their decision without my influence? Not an easy choice.
Okay, so back to this idea of it's just the two of us. Back to this idea of, in this age group, so in the college age group, I want them to make a decision of what they want to do. However, just like with our husband or our best friend or our people that we work with, we're going to sit down and discuss, this is the way that I'm thinking about it. How are you thinking about it? But back to what I said to the previous mom, which is, and to make sure and to say, and I know that since it's coming from mom, you're going to feel the pressure that you think that I want you to do it, but I don't want that pressure. I just want to tell you what I'm thinking and feeling.
Okay.
So I would phrase it that way. Just like back to the beautiful image that you just gave me, right? We kiss our baby goodbye. We give them to the teacher screaming, and we let them know, I promise I'll be here after snack. Mm-hmm. Right? So sitting down and having the conversation is the same thing. I love it. I'm totally going to use that. That's just because you're right. It's exactly saying, but it's about, okay, and this is unprecedented,
Right.
right? And for me, you know, in all of the age groups, everybody is practicing how to handle uncertainty,
Right.
frustration tolerance, impulse control, patience.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there are a lot of things and a lot of developmental markers that we're not practicing like we used to, but these four we are practicing in spades. And when you have these four, you can do anything. So hold that in mind. Hold in mind that they're practicing uncertainty, they're practicing frustration tolerance, they're practicing patience, and they're practicing impulse control in these decisions that they're making. And be honest with them. And with the caveat of, I want to start this conversation by saying that I am just sharing what I am thinking and what I am feeling, and I trust the decision that you will make for yourself.
Okay.
So
We're going to be doing a live on this, so I'll get back to you on that one.
yeah, preface it on that. Okay.
Okay.
All righty.
We'll talk soon.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Besitos.
Besitos.
Bye.
Bye.